Hello viewers. So in this video we're going to look at how to solve quadratic inequalities. Okay, now the first one here says solve for x if x squared plus x minus 12 is less than 0. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to factorize this part here. We want to factorize, we open our two brackets like this, less than 0, and then we put our x and x because our constant here is 1, so we just proceed to open all the brackets and put x and x like that. And then the signs are not the same because of this minus, and the signs will therefore be plus and a minus. We are looking for the factors of 12. When we subtract them we get 1 there. Okay, now what are those factors of 12? Is 4 and 3. We put bigger magnitude here, that is 4 and then 3 there, such that positive 4 minus 3 is positive 1. Okay, now let's proceed. After doing this, we are looking for our critical values. We just write CV for critical values. Critical values will be the values that when you plug as x, you get the left side as 0. It's either when the one bracket is 0 or when the other bracket is 0. That's the only time you will get the left side as 0. So our first number will be, our first integer will be minus 4. If you put minus 4 here, we get 0 for this bracket. And it will make 0 times something. That the whole answer will be 0. So that's why we put here minus 4 and please don't make mistake, you write and not or. You say your critical, because we are dealing with inequalities, your critical values are minus 4 and positive 3. Okay, now we want to put them in the number line. The next step is you want to put them in the number line. Here is our number line, and then after drawing a number line, you put the lesser magnitude to the left, that is your minus 4, and then you put your 3 to the right, okay? Because 3 is greater than minus 4. You put the bigger one here, you put the smaller one here, between the two critical values, okay? Now, because our factors here are less than 0, they are less than 0, okay? What we want to do is that sign of but also equals to. They didn't say we should include them. If they said we should include them, that the inequality sign that looks like this, less but also equals to, we would close. We would do this here on top of 3 and minus 4. But in our case, it's not this case. Our case is this one, without any, but also equals to. They said we must not include them. Now, if we don't include them, on top of 4, you open, and you open again on top of 3. Now, because our factors are less than 0, you want to come here in the middle and draw a line, and those will be your values of x that will make that statement on top to be true. Those values of x is only one line. It's only one line, meaning it's only, you just rewrite one x, and then you put the inequality signs like this. They will always be like this for this solution like this, and then you put your minus 4 this side and you put your 3 this side. In this way, you will not find them wrong. You will never. I'm going to make it clear again. I'm going to make it clear so that you don't forget it in the next question. Okay. For this one, this is your final answer. Now, let's make an example. Let's say your bank balance is less than 0. In this example, your balance will represent our factors. Now, let's say your balance is less than 0. That is, your factors are less than 0. How would you plot your number line? Maybe your critical values are A and B, where A is less than B. A is the smallest magnitude, B is bigger than A, okay, in the number line. Now, you want to draw a number line, and then you put your A, you put your B. Now, what you want to do is, for this one, because it's not included, we don't include them like this. Since they are less than, your bank balance is less than, would you assist someone in need? You remember your bank balance is less than zero. Would you assist someone financially that is in need? Okay, you cannot. That is why you fold your hands. That is why you will fold your hands. This is folding your hands. Imagine you are here and then there are your hands. Folding your hands here. This is just one line in between. And that one line will be represented by one X in between the inequality signs. You put your B here and then you put your A there. And this will be the correct solution. But in a case where our bank balance is greater than zero, we can at least assist. We can try to be generous and assist someone that is financially in need. Now, again, let's take our critical values as A and B. Now, we want to draw a number line and then you plot like that. You plot A and B, and then you want to open on top of A and B, because remember this sign is not there, but also equals to sign is not there, so we just open like this. Now in this case, our bank balance, that is our factors, they are greater than zero. Okay, now if they are greater than zero, there you are. You want to open your hands to the left and to the right and assist others. What do you mean by that? You come here and you say to the left and to the right. Those will be your factors. Now, what we want to do is we want to write x is less than a, or the final answer is x is less than a. You put the or, not the end, or x is greater than b. Okay, this will be your final answer. These two will be your solutions. Okay, in this case, look, we have two lines, one going to the left and one going to the right. Now we have two solutions, that is this one or this one. Okay, now I hope I made it clear. In a case whereby we have two solutions like this forming one solution, we want to put our x's to the left, always to the left of a and b, and then we will say the or here. Please don't forget to say is that one or this one. You are generalizing. You say is this one or this one. Okay, now your x values, what I want clear here is that your x must always be to the left of the inequality sign. Your x must always be to the left of the inequality sign. And then you put the first inequality sign will be, since we have the arrow facing that way, your first inequality sign will face that way. And then since we have the arrow facing that way, your second inequality sign will face that way. Okay? And then those will be the correct solutions. Anything other than this for this problem, for a problem like this, is incorrect. Okay? Let's make that one clear. You will get it wrong. Again, you want to make sure that the first position for each bracket, this position, is taken by x, not a constant. A constant must fall, okay? Must be x plus a, maybe, and then x plus b. Okay, but remember again, in our example, a is less than b for both the cases, for this one of the greater and the one that we did on top of the less, if our factors were less than zero. And then you want to make sure again that this part is always zero. Okay, the right hand side, you want to keep it as zero. This part is zero, and the first positions on both the brackets are taken by x. Okay, now if that's the case, we can proceed to find critical values and proceed to give the correct solutions. Now I hope I made that one clear. Let's proceed to look at the other question. Now, number 2 says, what are the values of x that will make x plus 1 into 4 minus x to be less than 0? What are the values of x that will make this statement here to be true? Let's go and solve for those values of x. We have a problem here because we have a minus sign in between 4 and 3. Remember, we want to write x first and then 4 will come after. Okay, let's do that. Let's do it step by step. What we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it as x plus 1 multiplied. This one, we are going to take out the negative sign outside of the bracket. We take it out, the negative sign, and then inside of the bracket, we are left with minus 4 plus x. But we want to write it as x minus 4, like this, and then we close less than 0. And then we want to divide by this negative 1. This negative 1 here, we want to divide by that negative 1. And then we will have x plus 1 into x minus 4. And then we change the inequality sign. Why would we change the inequality sign? The negative disappeared. The negative sign there disappeared. And that's why we change the inequality sign from less than to greater than. Okay? Remember, why do we keep the negative sign outside of the bracket? It's because we want to keep the question as the way it was asked. We don't want to ask ourselves our own question. So we are rewriting it. We are rewriting the question, but we are just taking out the negative so that it works for our good. It will put x in the first position. That's what we want. Okay. Now from here, what we want to do is you want to go to find your critical values. You write your critical values. CV will be, for this first bracket, we get our critical value as minus 1. And for the second bracket, we get our critical value as positive 4. Remember, we want the values of x that will make our left side here to become 0. Now, those are our critical values. Let's proceed and sketch them on the number line. We just write our number line like this. We plot the smaller one, that is minus 1, and then you plot the bigger one, that is 4 to the right, smaller one to the left. Okay, now let's go and check. It was just when we checked our critical values here on this step, not the one on top, we have the sign that is greater there. Okay, now what you want to do is we want to open. You don't close, you don't do this, you don't shade, ne? You just leave them open like this. Now, because our bank balance here is greater than 0, we can proceed and open our hands to assist others. And then after that, we want to write our x's on the left. Remember, our x's on our far left. And then we just follow the sign. And then we follow the sign. And then we put our minus 1 and we put our 4 there. And then you are done. Those are the solutions. You just have to write or here so that you show that this is a general solution. This or that. Is this one or this one? Okay. Hope that one is clear. Let's look at the next question. That is the final answer. Number 3 says, find the values of x for which 81 minus x squared will be greater but also equals to 0. Let's be careful. This one is but also equals to. Now we are going to shade and we are not going to open. But here we have a problem again. Is 81 minus x squared. The order is not the way we want it. It's not working into our favor. So we want to rewrite it as minus x squared plus 81. That should be greater but also equals to 0. We just rearranged. We didn't do anything. Let's divide everything by a negative sign, or we take a negative sign outside of the bracket. That's what we are doing on the next step, so that we have our x squared minus 81. The inequality sign, when you divide by a negative sign, or you take that negative sign outside of the bracket and then you just eliminate it, the inequality sign must change. When you are doing the negative signs only, please be careful. Okay, if it was a positive sign, we don't have a problem, we can proceed. Now we just change the inequality sign and then we write our 0 there. And then we proceed and say, for this one is difference of two squares. we have x squared there, that is our first square, and then we have 81, that is our second square. Well, what we want to do is we want to open our two brackets like this, less but also equals to 0, and then we put our x's there to get that x squared. Okay, now for difference of two squares you just put a minus and a plus. Okay, now you put the square root of 81. Again, we put the square root of x squared as x and x. Now we want to put the square root of the other term, that is 81. The square root of 81 is just 9. We put there a negative 9 and a positive 9, like that. And now we are looking for our critical values. Our critical values, that is your CV, those will be minus 9 from this bracket and a positive 9 from the other bracket. Okay, what we want to do now is we want to plot them in our number line. After getting our critical values, we want to plot them in our number line. That is, we put minus 9 there and 9 there. Why do we put minus 9 on the left? Minus 9 is the smaller one between minus 9 and 9. So we put the smaller one on the left, the bigger one on the right. Now that is but also equals to. Okay, now that is but also equals to, what we want to do is we want to shade. We shade on top of 9 and minus 9. Are they less or are they greater? They are less. Our factors, that is our bank balance, is less than 0. We cannot help. We fold our hands. And then this one line will be our solution. The values of x that are between minus 9 and 9. Minus 9 and 9 being part of the solution, meaning they are being included. Now we're going to write them as a single x and then our inequality signs facing that way, including 9 and minus 9. And this will be your final solution. Okay, take this moment and try number 4 by yourself. Please do that and test your knowledge with number 4. Okay. Okay, now let's do it together. It says here, solve for the values of x that will make x minus 1 into x plus 4 to be greater but also equals to 6. Okay, let's look for those values of x. Please note that here we no longer have a 0. We have a 6 there. We want to make that part 0. Remember, we want to make that part 0, and we want the factors that will have in brackets the first positions in terms of x. Okay, now let's look at that. What we have to do here is we're going to break this bracket down and then bring 6 to the other side as well. And then you'll write it in standard form, that is a x squared plus bx plus c, and then it will be an inequality sign and then 0 on the other side. Okay, you want to write it in that form. Let's go and write it in standard form there. We say we have here our x multiplied by x, that is our x squared plus 4x minus 1x, that is plus 3x, and then minus 1 times 4 is just minus 4. And then we bring 6 to the other side, it was positive, it will be negative 6 this side, greater but also equals to 0. When 6 jumps, changing the sign, the inequality sign remains the same. Okay, uh, the inequality sign, it changes only when you are dividing with a negative sign or you are multiplying with a negative sign. Okay, okay, I hope it's clear. And now this will be x squared plus 3x minus 10, greater but also equals to 0. Okay, now let's proceed. We say the factors for this trinomial are, we open our two brackets like this, greater but also equals to 0. We put our x and x for this x squared, and then we have factors of 10, of which when we subtract we get 3. We have 10 times 1, we have 5 times 2. We are looking for 5 times 2 because they are the ones that when we multiply, we get 10, and when we subtract them, we get 3. Okay, we are looking for those ones. Now, the signs. Since 5 is the bigger magnitude, it will take the sign of the middle term. Remember, the signs are not the same because of, again, this negative. Okay, now let's go and plug positive 5 there and then negative 2. Remember, the signs are not the same, okay, because of they must produce a negative, this negative. When you multiply them, you must produce that negative term. Now we say from here we want our critical values. Our critical values will be minus 5 and 2. Okay, minus 5 for this one and 2 for that one. When you plug 2 here, we get 0. And again, when you plug minus 5 there, we have a 0 this side on our left hand side. Okay, now let's proceed. After getting the critical values, remember what we want to do now is we want to draw our number line. Okay, we sketch our number line and then you put minus 5 there and 2 there. Remember, minus 5 is smaller than 2. Minus 5, since it's negative, is the one that is the smallest number between the two. And then 2 is the bigger number between the two because it's a positive integer. Okay, now on top of minus 5, we want to shade, as well as on top of positive 2, we want to shade. Why? Because we have but also equals to. Okay, they are included. Okay, now we say, now since they are greater, our balance is greater, what we want to do is we want to open our hands and help others. That's what we want to do. And then we just proceed to write our x. We follow the sign minus 5, or our x, you follow the sign there and then you put 2. But now remember, we must include them. Okay, don't forget, you must include them. So we say we're going to include them there, but also equals to. Okay, the same inequality sign that was used here, the one that has but also equals to, we want to use it there at our answers as well. We want to use it here as well. That is but also equals to for positive, for minus 5, and for 2 as well. Okay, now that will be your final answer. Thank you for watching this video. I highly appreciate your support. Please subscribe if you have not done so yet, and please tell your friend about this channel, that it exists and it will help them a lot. Okay, good luck with your academics for this year. Thank you very much. Bye.